or +254 795 806 969. Visit www.eaukTourismExpo.com to register.
The Ministry of Health informs the general public that there are some cases of Mpox detected in Uganda. The ministry, working with partners and affected district local governments, are doing their best to contain the situation. The signs and symptoms of Mpox are body rash, fever, general body weakness, headache, sore throat, nasal congestion or cough, and swollen lymph nodes. You can prevent yourself from getting infected with Mpox by avoiding close contact with people who have been confirmed to have Mpox or who have signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding touching or sharing personal items like beddings, eating utensils, phones, or other belongings of a person who has the signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding contact, including eating, with all wild animals, alive or dead, especially those known to carry the virus, such as rodents and monkeys, and those that appear sick or have been found dead. Getting vaccinated if you're among those who have been identified to be at high risk of Mpox infection. Mpox is treatable and usually goes away after 2 to 4 weeks. However, it can be severe, causing even death, especially among children, pregnant women, and those with other health conditions. For more information and support, contact your nearest health worker. Call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, good morning and thank you very much for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda, and here is a conversation that is taking us to Good Morning Uganda Extra. Hope you're doing well and hope your Thursday morning is serving you the best of chills in regards to this kind of weather that we've been serving since the start of the week. Now, of course, as we are talking matters Uganda and development, our main focus this time around is taking us to Mbarara, and we are not going to be talking about anything that you have in mind, because currently we will be having our conversation held. The current conversation that we're going to be holding this morning is one that is going to be about a marathon that is coming up in Mbarara. This is a marathon that is organized by the Initiative for Better Health, or IBH, which is the IBH Mpumo Marathon 2024. And of course, with me in studio, I have two guests who are going to give us a broader understanding of this very marathon and taking us through the entire process of the marathon, how it came about, and what initiatives are likely to come off from the same marathon as it is slated to be happening this very year. Now, with me in studio, first off, at the extreme end, I do have the Executive Director of Initiative for Better Health. This is Aturinde John Kateba, who also joins us in studio this morning. A very good morning, John. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Okay.
And good morning, viewers.
All right. And with him, he has moved with the Program Manager for Initiative for Better Health. This is Innocent Tibanyendera, who is also with us this morning. Good morning, Innocent. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, our host, Sonko Joram, and good morning to all our viewers out there.
All right, indeed. And I've pronounced the IBH Mpumo Marathon 2024. I don't know if that is the right pronunciation of Mpumo.
Yeah, that's the right.
It is the right one. Let's start from that conversation, John, in regards to this marathon. What is it all about? And is this the first edition of its kind, or we have had previous ones before?
Thank you so much, Sonko. Mpumo Marathon is an annual flagship event that is organized by IBH in partnership with the Ministry of Health and the Uganda AIDS Commission. So this is our first edition, and we target our purpose. The rationale is to create HIV awareness and also to raise resources for HIV interventions. So we aim at kicking HIV, AIDS out of southwestern Uganda by 2030.
Okay.
So the word Mpumo, we have had so many people ask us about what Mpumo means. Mpumo is sound that is coming from a moving object. When an object is moving at a very terrific speed, so we are applying the same speed in term and energy in terms of of fighting, creating awareness on HIV. So this is where the name Mpumo originates from. It is a Chinyankole word, Chinyankole Chichiga word. Yeah, so this is where we are.
And Innocent, one may wonder, why are we with this initial marathon focusing on Ankole and the Chigezi sub-region per se?
Thank you so much, Joram. What informed our desire to do a marathon in Ankole and Kigezi sub-regions is there were high infection rates, there were high prevalence rates in those districts. Mbarara district and Mbarara city had around 14%. 14%. You have Shema has around 7.5. You have Hueju around 7. All those are very, very, very serious cases of HIV and AIDS. So the infection, the HIV and AIDS infection is there. So we are like, us as IBH, we run a program on health promotion and community engagement. Why can't we raise awareness that this disease is there and is killing people on a daily? So we were informed by high rates of new infections. We were informed by high prevalence rates to do a marathon to create awareness that the disease is there, awareness on prevention, awareness on testing and treatment. So that is what informed our desire to do a marathon in Ankole and Kigezi sub-regions.
Okay, and let me get back to John. John, when you look at HIV awareness and HIV spread within the country, why is it important for any Ugandan to be part of this particular marathon that seeks to create this level of awareness?
Oh yes, it is. We've had the HIV for a couple of years affect people, affect the families, and affect the work, as well as the resources that are spent in terms of treatment, in terms of care, and in terms of support. We know for a fact that we have had the donor support from the time HIV started in the country. And a lot of resources have been invested into civil society, into government, by development partners. And at the moment, because of the constraints that they have, as well as priorities, they are looking at, scaling down in terms of support. So by 2030, the support will have reduced from the donors according to their focus, their target. And this would actually mean that people who have HIV are going to find it quite difficult to afford drugs, because now they are getting them for free, okay, because of the support. But when the support is reduced or it's not there, then it means that people are going to start buying drugs the same way they are buying for other diseases, pressure, diabetes. And the implication is a lot of people are going to die because they will not afford those drugs. So it is very important at this moment that everybody gets involved in the campaign to create awareness. Many people have not seen the aids of the many years when HIV had just come. And there is a lot of laxity in terms of prevention. So it is important that everybody takes part in preventing young people, those who are going into school, those who are in education institutions, those who are doing their jobs like the boarders, riders, entirely young people, especially now, like focusing on young, adolescent girls and women who are involved in sex trade, sex work, to be able to prevent the infection. And everyone is affected, because when you have a person who is sick, then it is a concern to the people around that person. So that is why it should also be a concern for everyone to participate in this campaign. So for us as an organization, we have put this marathon, the Mpumu Marathon, which is taking place this week on the 27th, to get everybody's participation. Okay. When they are running, the time, this kind of awareness that we are doing, even with UBC at this time and other stations where we have been and where we are headed to, the campaigns, the events that we are carrying out, the medical camps that give us the opportunities also to speak with communities, that level of involvement is where we need everybody to come in, the media, civil society, government, the communities themselves, local leaders, to come and give us this kind of support so that we scale up on our prevention strategies.
Now, let's turn our focus back to the preparations. Innocent, if you can take us into the preparations, what have you done so far, and what are you doing in order to make this marathon a success and to ensure that everyone who will take part in it will not regret being part of this initiative?
Okay, thank you so much, Joram. We started these preparations like 3-4 months ago. We started by identifying the people who will be part of the marathon, the government agencies. So we started by creating a partnership or collaboration with the Ministry of Health, Uganda AIDS Commission. So they are up there, and the idea was to do the marathon as a pre-World AIDS Day activity. So we started by collaborating with the Ministry of Health, with Uganda AIDS Commission, we went down to creating different stakeholders. We approached companies. Companies have supported us. We've done a lot. We've done route mapping. We've secured the ground at Kacheka Stadium. So the preparations are in high gear, and we're expecting over 20,000 participants. We have kits out there. People are buying kits, running kits, marathon running kits, and so on and so forth. Maybe more the ED could elaborate more about the different activities that we do. But what I would also love to point out is the Mpuma Marathon is part of the bigger World AIDS Day activities. We have other marathons that are being supported by the Ministry of Health and Uganda AIDS Commission that are happening in different regions of the country. We have others happening in the Rwenzori sub-region. We have another one in Lango sub-region. We have another one in Soroti. But those, we have different organizations that are spearheading, or they are taking a lead on that. But we are all working under the Ministry of Health and Uganda AIDS Commission.
And ED, let's look into the preparations. He mentions something to do with the partners that you've been able to find out and try to organize together. But on that bit of the preparations, what else should a person like myself who wants to be part of this marathon, to engage in, let's say, to go and run my race, what should they know about the preparations that you have for them? And what categories have been made so far?
Okay, in terms of preparations, we've been down on the ground, and we have, as he mentioned, we have identified, we have done the routes. So we have 3 categories of the route. We have 5 kilometers, we have 10 kilometers, and we have 21 kilometers. Mm-hmm. All these start from Kacheka and end in Kacheka. So we go around the places that are more congested, where we are disseminating the information. Because our target goes to the hotspot areas, where that is where we are taking the message. So we are doing rounds within, the runs within Mbarara City, but also in terms of preparations, we are working with the media, and the levels of participation. We have the police that is guiding the route, the run, giving that protection. And of course, we have different partners, the UPDF and the hospital, Ministry of Health, who have come in to give us support in terms of support with the ambulances. So we would want, as part of identity, to identify the runner so that it is easy for the traffic. We would want all the people who want to participate to buy kits, the T-shirts that we put on that day for easy identification, and each one goes for 20,000. So preparations are still underway, and as we said, this marathon takes place on the 27th. On Sunday this week.
This week?
Yes, please.
Sunday?
Yes.
20,000 Ugandan shillings?
20,000 for the kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anyways, besides the preparations, I think we also need to understand who are the partners that you are working with. He has mentioned some of those, the ministry. I do believe there are also media companies attached to this particular cause that you're having. Which other agencies and which other private sector players have shown the desire to be working with you?
We are working with the media, like you are here as UBC. Then we have Nation Media. We have the Vision Group, that's the TV West and the TV Radio. Then we have the GNTV, and then we have the Lit TV. Those are TV stations in Mbarara. And then we have Masse Radio, a couple of radio stations on the ground. And then in terms of service provision, because we, as part of the pre-marathon and after the marathon events, we are holding medical camps. So the medical camps we are being supported by partners who include TASO, AIC, the AIDS Information Center. Then we have the Joint Medical Store who have supported, especially the one that we just had, the camp that we had last week in Kajara in Ntungam. So we have a couple of others. We have the companies, the water companies, Westlake Water, we have Yaket Water, we have the Crown Beverages, the PEPs. And then we have ice water, and then we also have the individual, companies like the global coaches in Barara. We have Shell, Ankware, and a couple of we have a couple of other partners that have come on board to give us the support.
And so now let's look into the activities that are slated to happen even before the marathon. One of those activities is now the media campaigns that you're doing, the media visits and all that. But the weekend, let's get into the weekend. For example, on Saturday, are there activities that you are likely to do or to engage in within Barara as we prepare for the big day on Sunday?
Yes, thank you so much. We are mainly focusing on the marathon itself, which will be getting people to Kacheka Stadium to start the 21, 10, and 5 kilometers. But we also have sensitization campaigns that are going on within Barara, calling about people to come and participate in the marathon. On that very day, we have a medical camp in the stadium, which will be about HIV testing, with TB screening, testing for all SDIs and all. So we have a full medical camp on that day in Kacheka Stadium as the marathon is going on. We've been having medical camps along the coming to the marathon. We've had one huge one recently in Ntungamo district, where we had like over 1,000 people coming to do testing. We had around 200 people coming to test for HIV and AIDS, and as a matter of fact, out of those ones, there were positives that were positive cases, which gives us more reason to look for more support to do these medical camps, because once you don't take these services closer to the people will continue dying of this. So we are doing medical camps, we are doing CS sensitization, we are doing street cleaning in Barara City as we prepare for the marathon on the 27th. Something I didn't say or that I was supposed to mention at the beginning of the show was the chief guest is the First Lady. Honorable Janet Kata Museveni. So she's our chief guest, and we thank her for accepting to be part of the Impumo Marathon. We appreciate that because she's very passionate about the scourge of HIV and AIDS.
But when we do return after the break, we are getting more messages from the gentlemen I do have this morning in regards to what they think should be done and which efforts private sector players, government entities should do to ensure that we curb HIV, the HIV spread by 2030, an initiative or an agenda that the government is very mindful of and very intentional too. And then at the same time, also getting to know how you, who is not in Barara, can be part of this marathon or participate. That and more is what we're going to be having in a conversation coming up after the break. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
woman's journey is not just the places she's been, but the different people she's become. It's the evolution of her identity. If you're a female creative, a writer, a passionate actress, a producer, a director, or working in the film industry, this is your tribe. Join us for the Women in Film Symposium 2024 on October 26th at Skies Hotel, Nakuru, under the theme, Skilling Women in Film for Equality, Sustainability and Advocacy. Don't miss live performances, cocktails, awards, workshops, networking, panel discussions, and so much more. Gates open at 4 p.m. The fee is 50,000 Uganda shillings, payable via Momo Pay Code 713362 or call 0786 312 218. Sponsored by
The East Africa UK Tourism and Cultural Expo 2024 is here, happening on 8th and 9th of November 2024 under the theme Enhancing Tourism as Engine for Social and Economic Transformation on the sidelines of WTM London at the Rembrandt Hotel, 11 Thurlow, PI South Kensington, London, SW7 2RS, United Kingdom. For tickets, exhibitors will pay £1,000 and participants will pay £300. For more information, call +256 787 096 100 or +254 795 806 969. Visit www.eauktourismexpo.com to register.
The Ministry of Health informs the general public that there are some cases of Mpox detected in Uganda. The ministry, working with partners and affected district local governments, are doing their best to contain the situation. The signs and symptoms of Mpox are body rash, fever, general body weakness, headache, sore throat, nasal congestion or cough, and swollen lymph nodes. You can prevent yourself from getting infected with Mpox by avoiding close contact with people who have been confirmed to have Mpox or who have signs and symptoms of Mpox, avoiding touching or sharing personal items like beddings, eating utensils, phones, or other belongings of a person who has the signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding contact, including eating, with all wild animals, alive or dead, especially those known to carry the virus, such as rodents and monkeys, and those that appear sick or have been found dead. Getting vaccinated if you're among those who have been identified to be at high risk of Mpox infection. Mpox is treatable and usually goes away after 2 to 4 weeks. However, it can be severe, causing even death, especially among children, pregnant women, and those with other health conditions. For more information and support, contact your nearest health worker. Call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Well, good to have you back from that commercial. And here we go again with our conversation this morning. The IBH and Puma Half Marathon that is coming up this Sunday in Barara. You can take part of the same marathon by running your race in either the 21 kilometers, that is the half marathon of the 42, or the 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers, 20,000 Ugandan shillings for the kit if you want to be part of the same marathon. And of course, if you're part of this marathon, then you're part of the people who are raising awareness of putting an end to HIV/AIDS in Uganda. Of course, there is an agenda for 2030 that is to see that the spread of HIV/AIDS in Uganda is completely cut off, and we can take part by playing our role and being part of this marathon, engaging and also encouraging people to use safety measures or to actually live their life minding about their health and how to spread the virus is something that you can also be part of this very Sunday. My guests, like I did mention, are coming in from the Initiative for Better Health, who are the core partners and sponsors, all the people behind the SEM Marathon. And at the same time, I'm having the ED and, of course, the programs manager from the SEM Health Initiative for Better Health. Aturinde John Kateba is with Innocent Tibanyendera. Yes, Innocent Tibanyendera, who is the programs manager. But gentlemen, before we went into the break, I mentioned something about what we need to do as society. And this is a wide room of conversation. What needs to be done? Because the spread of HIV/AIDS is no longer regional based. It is a country concern, because back in the time we would break down and say this region has more of the HIV spread. But you've come to realize that every region is suffering from the same, meaning it's a holistic accountability for all to be involved. How then should we be part of this cause? What should the civil society do? What should the private sector players do? And what should the government entities and agencies do? I'll start with you, Mr. Katurinde.
Okay, thank you. This should definitely be a collective effort by everyone. The civil society needs to have collaboration with the local leaders. We need to work with government. We also need to work with the with communities, and this is going to be possible by using the approaches that have not been there before. And this is why, for us as IBH, we believe in taking a different approach to change. And this is applicable in our situation at the moment, where we are using the marathon to get everybody's involvement. So we are getting people coming as individuals, because an individual will buy a kit and come to run. So when they come to run, they have the message. So if we are targeting to get 20,000 runners in one marathon, that means that the 20,000 people will take the message. Everyone will go with the message about HIV. Ideally, everyone knows that there is HIV and HIV kills, or people can live with it positively, but that is not enough. We need to make people, especially the young generation, more aware of the detrimental effects that come along with HIV, away from the sickness itself, but the impact that HIV has on the economy, the impact that the HIV has on our families, because you realize that some families are struggling. They are failing to cope up. Those which have tested, the families that have tested, or where a couple has tested HIV positive, it comes along with a lot of domestic violence, cases. Yes. There is a lot of blame game. You infected me, you did this, even when they don't know who actually infected the other. So we need to come up as communities, we need to come up as civil society to be able to bring this information back to the general public. There are quite a couple of things that we have noticed in our campaign during the mobilization for this marathon, where we have seen that institutions, educational institutions, the other day recently we read in the papers, I think it was New Vision, I don't remember exactly the paper, which was talking about a certain institution that has where one, you know, some big percentage of girls like have multiple partners. I'm not going to mention the institution, but it went public. And the reasons for this, there are a lot of reasons why they have different partners. It's because of the social pressure, the desire to have things that seem to be, you know, on the knob, as young people say. So this has penetrated higher institutions. It's going down to even the secondary schools. So as NGOs, as civil society, we need to go and target all areas where there are young people in schools, even in primaries. Primaries could be a bit exceptional because at that age they are not sexually active, but they need to have the message when they are growing up. I want to give an example. When I was still a young boy, I think I was in primary, my sister told me, Justine, she told me and said, if you see, because by then she was like in senior 6, and she said, if you see anyone, know that that person has HIV, except you. And that message helped to keep me grow. Because it's not that you are trying to discriminate people, but you don't know the status of the person you are with. The only status that you know is your own status. True. So that message should actually go to help the young people. So it starts with, in terms of educational institutions, it starts with primary, secondary, where they start to be sexually active, up to the tertiary levels. But also, even when they are in tertiary level, they need to be prepared for for work. You know, there is a lot of trouble, especially with girls, when they are looking for jobs. So they need to be prepared and know there is this time where there are going to be a lot of demands for you to get a job. Some of those demands will be sexual demands from the would-be employers. So how do we mitigate that? So as civil society, we need to prepare the young generation using all corners. So we have the categories of people who have been a big target. People who are doing businesses like the borders, you know, they need to be targeted. People who are doing the taxi drivers need to be targeted. I know this has been there, but we need to put in more effort so that we are awakening people. There is a lot of laxity in terms of prevention because of different thoughts about HIV. You know, a lot of people, which is a good thing, who are HIV positive are on ARVs, are on drugs. And you wouldn't tell, unlike before where you would see a person and say, oh, this person, from the look of things, could be having HIV. Today it is different. Everyone looks heresy. So we don't know who has HIV. So because of that, people have somehow relaxed and they take it to be a very normal condition. But there are challenges ahead of us. We don't need to be taken into a state of emergency. So by 2030, we need to work together as organizations, as government, as individuals, as local leaders. We need to work together as teachers. We need to work together, see that by 2030, we have kicked HIV. And that is the whole idea, the whole rationale about the Mpumu Marathon. So we have started the journey. This is the first edition. We have the next one next year until we have HIV out of this country.
And innocent on that matter of, you know, the message that you can send to the public and the various agencies on the role we all have to play to kick out HIV/AIDS by 2030, or the role that we all have to play in ensuring that we do not have HIV being spread recklessly.
Yeah, thank you so much. The spread of HIV and AIDS has it has a very small circle. You have the person who is going to acquire the disease. So the messages we are putting out there, and we shall keep echoing them. They are the usual messages. If you must go in for a sexual affair, there are condoms there. Use your condom. Use the condoms. There are female condoms and there are male condoms. But again, if you're someone out there and you are living with the disease. It's not the end of the world. 2, you as an individual out there, know your status. And once you find that you're HIV positive, start on ARVs and take them on a daily basis. The leaders out there in the community, discourage these practices that lead to risky behaviors, like these social cultural practices, like child marriages, like there's a funny culture in Ankole whereby the woman belongs to the whole family, and it's a very funny cycle there that can cause HIV and AIDS. As leaders, discourage all those practices. Discourage drug abuse. Children, adolescents there, don't abuse alcohol. These are things that would impair your judgment and end up in risky behaviors. So those are some of the things that we put out there. We shall keep echoing that message. We shall keep telling the leaders. We shall keep telling the people who are living with HIV and AIDS. It is not the end of the world. We shall keep telling the men out there that make sure that you do not keep your circle small. Keep faithful to your partner, men, women. We shall keep echoing these messages. They sound normal. They sound normal. They sound the usual messages, but we shall keep echoing them to make sure that we curb the prevention, we deal with the testing and the treatment of the virus, because that is where the circle is.
All right, now let me get the parting shots from the two gentlemen that we have in studio this morning. I'll start off with the Executive Director, Initiative for Better Health, Mr. Turinde John Kateba. What would be your parting shots as we are winding up, and your call of the viewers to be part of this marathon?
Okay, I would like to appeal to the general public to participate in interventions that are helping to curb, HIV and AIDS in this country, because we are really very high. We need to double the efforts, and in this regard, I'm asking the media, the general public, different stakeholders in this, to come and participate in our planned marathon for Sunday, so that we are able to get this message go out. And to those, to the general public, away from the marathon itself, I would like to send this message to people that they need to protect themselves from getting infected with HIV. Because there are two things. You can prevent when you are negative. You can prevent to be positive. But when you are positive, you cannot reverse to be negative again. So it should stick into our minds that there is that moment that you will never reverse. But there is this moment that you can protect. When you are negative and say, I will not go to stage plus, I will remain in stage minus. So that it should stick to the public, and of course, that when you have crossed into the plus stage, of course, there are a lot of guidelines to stay positive. There are a lot of conditions that you must adhere to. So it is important that we join the campaign, the Mpumo Marathon campaign, to control, to prevent HIV. Thank you.
All right. Innocent, what would be your parting shots?
Yeah, thank you so much. My parting shots are, of course, calling upon everyone out there. You know that HIV and AIDS is still there. Forget the myth about the disease. It is real. If you don't prevent yourself from getting it, it's real. About the marathon, come join us on the 27th of this month, which is around 3 days, 3 days away. It will be on Sunday in Kacheka Stadium. Let us do our part. I know the ministry, the Ministry of Health and other experts out there, big organizations, they are doing their thing on the national level. But as IBH, we are also doing our small contribution through the marathon to create awareness on HIV and AIDS. So thank you so much, UBC, for hosting us, and God bless you all.
Well, of course, you can be part of the IBH Impomo Marathon 2024 this Sunday at the Kacheka Stadium in Barara. 20,000 Ugandan shillings for you to get your kit and be part of this particular initiative. The marathon is moving towards creating awareness of HIV and AIDS in Uganda, but not necessarily within Ankole or the Kigezi sub-region, but for the entire country to ensure that we curb the spread of HIV/AIDS. Now, with me this morning in studio, I've been having two gentlemen coming in from the Initiative for Better Health. One is Aturinde John Kateba, who is the Executive Director of the initiative. With him is Innocent Tibanyendera, the Program Manager for Initiative for Better Health. The both of them will be with you, who will also be taking part in the marathon on Sunday. So do make sure you join and be part of this ever impressive and a good initiative of a marathon that will be slated for this Sunday. And that does it for our conversation this morning here on Good Morning Uganda Extra. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Till tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. with Good Morning Uganda Friday edition. We shall be back with the team, Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, Olive Monica Najuma, and Ruben Pima, Chibirango, and myself. So be part of it, because the edition on Friday is a little bit a different one and a different twist of what we have gathered for you always. Stick around, have yourself a good day, and may God bless you today.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.